Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I apologise for the really weird lighting and not very cute background. I'm in the new house, but I am very much still in the process of unpacking said house. So in this video, I am going to be reading fantasy books for the week. I've already started one and we're about to start another. Let me explain. Basically, what the aim of this vlog is to finish two fantasy series. One of them I have 2 books left and the other one I have 1 book left. So the first series that we're going to finish is the Shaman-Born series by Laurie M. Lee, and the last book in that trilogy is called Calling of Light, and that's the one that I've already started reading. So this trilogy basically follows Saoirse, who is an orphan, and she doesn't really have any credentials or anything to back her up, but she wants to make something of her life. And I've spoke about this series quite a lot before, so I won't go into it too much, but basically in the place that she lives in the fictional fantasy world, having like a really well-respected family is really, really important to them. It's quite hard to make anything of yourself if you don't come from like a noble family, and obviously she doesn't because she's an orphan. So she's kind of battling against all the odds to try and make something of herself, and she has a very clear goal in mind of becoming the Queen's Shadow. And the Queen's Shadow is basically like a spy, assassin kind of figure that serves the Queen. And you follow Saoirse on her journey of trying to accomplish that and the 8 million curveballs that get thrown in. Like, the story really just developed from there. The first book kind of focuses on that, and then we very much, like, the plot develops, we get to see more of the world. So I'm now on the 3rd and final book. I have started it. I'm about just under 100 pages in. I'm having a slow start with it, but that's because I started reading it like the day before I moved house, and I've just not had time to actually sit down and physically read very much at all. So that's the only reason that I haven't got far into it. It's a very digestible series. It's not my favourite fantasy series I've ever read in my life. I think it could do with a bit more development, a bit more depth, but it's fun, it's easy, and I find it, even though that premise doesn't sound very unique, I think we've seen that kind of comes from nothing wants to be everything trope done a lot, but the actual world and the magic system and everything I found very unique in this series, and it's just so easy to like digest and read whilst also not being too simple in a bad way where it's like you're getting nothing new from it. So I'm very much enjoying the series. It's just because I've moved and I don't have time to sit and physically read, hence why we're about to start another book even though I've not finished the first one. So I'll probably check back in when I'm like halfway through Calling of Light in a few days when I've had more time to sit down and read. But in the meantime, whilst I'm doing all of my house jobs, I feel like we might as well start an audiobook. And the second series that I want to finish in this video is the Caraval trilogy. I have only read the first one, but I've currently got the audiobooks for the second and the third one on Libby. I think they're on. I have like 4 different audiobook apps, so I get confused as to what's where. But I've borrowed them on Libby. So whilst I have them, we might as well start listening to the second one. So if you don't know the Caraval trilogy, it's by Stephanie Garber, who is the author of the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. But Caraval kind of comes first. I don't think you have to read Caraval to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, but the Caraval trilogy, don't want to say Caraval one more time. The premise of that original trilogy sounded really interesting to me anyway, so I wanted to read it. I adored the first book. I gave it a 4.25 star. It might even be higher than that now that it's been a few months since I read it. I just really, really loved it. And I've been itching to carry on with the series ever since, both because I love this trilogy, but also because I really can't wait to read Once Upon a Broken Heart as well. So I'm now on the second book, which is Legendary. If you don't know what Caraval is about, it's about these sisters who really, especially one of them, really, really wants to go to Caraval, which is like a game kind of thing that travels around, and it's like a once in a lifetime experience. Most people don't even get to go, so it's like a less than a once in a lifetime experience, if such a thing exists, to go. And it very much bends the kind of lines between reality and magic, and you don't know what's real. The way that it was written I found absolutely beautiful. Like, the descriptions, I could picture it so clearly in my head, which I struggle to picture things. I don't have a very picturesque imagination, question mark, but I could just see it so clearly. And then I looked up fan art and it actually looked the same. Like, do you know how rare that is, that I picture something in my brain and then I look at fan art and it's like, oh, I'm actually on the same page as these other people? That never happens. Usually, like, for example, reading Throne of Glass, I was picturing like an igloo for the big castle thing. and it clearly wasn't an igloo. So I think that really speaks to Stephanie Garber's writing. I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to actually go start listening to Legendary. Don't know how much B-roll there's going to be in this vlog, because alongside filming this, I'm also filming a vlog, like a moving vlog. So I don't really know how much B-roll we're going to get, unfortunately, in this video. It might be, apologies, a bit more of just to sit down and talk about books kind of vlog, but we'll see where it goes. I'm sure I'll go on some walks at some point. I always tend to do that in my reading vlogs whilst I'm listening to my audiobooks. But yeah, I'm going to go and start listening to Legendary. Hello everyone. Look where we are. We are in the new book room. Sorry, I look a mess. I've been at work all day and I'm just about to get in the bath. So I'm not looking my best right now, but I do have some reading updates. So first of all, I finished Legendary. I was listening to this on audio, so I've just been listening to it a lot. I finished it when I was driving to work this morning, and I gave it a 4-star, but like a very high 4-star. I don't feel like I could give it more, because I gave the first book 4.25, and I definitely did prefer the first book personally. So I don't feel like I can give it more than a 4, but I loved this. I just loved being back in this world so much. I did really enjoy the plot. I thought it was interesting, but on the other hand, I feel like we missed a lot of the elements of intrigue that we got in the first book. I feel like this one for me just didn't quite feel as like magical and exciting, but I still just loved it. I just love this world so much. I think Stephanie Garber can write an interesting world and an interesting plot while still making it accessible and easy to read and understand. So I really, really love this one. So much so that I've gone straight into finale. Like, I finished this early today and I've already started listening to this. I'm not very far in. I think I'm probably around 10-15% of the way through finale. Is that how you say it? Finale? I don't know. That is how I'm saying it anyway. So I'm not very far through this one at all, but I'm just loving it already. Not as much as the first one yet, but I feel like this one really has the potential to go somewhere interesting. And in this one, we seem to be getting both sisters' points of view. So the first one, Caraval, was in Scarlett's point of view. This one was in Donatella's point of view, and then in this one we are seeing both of them. Mind you, it is third person, so when I say point of view, they have their own chapters, it's just told in third person point of view. I don't know why I'm mansplaining what third person means. I'm very happy that we are going to finish this series in this video. I read Legendary a lot quicker than I thought, so it probably won't be too long until I finish finale either, which is exciting but also sad, because I kind of don't want to finish the series because I just love it so much. But I know that when I finished it, I can go straight into Once Upon a Broken Heart, so I'm very excited for that. And I am now around halfway through Calling of Light. This is the naked hardback. Like, how stunning is this? It's literally gorgeous. And I'm really enjoying this as well. I'm still reading it slow because I just don't have much time to sit and physically read, because I'm either at work or I'm still unpacking and doing stuff around the house and listening to audiobooks. So I'm not reading this as quickly as I'd like, because I can't get my hands on an audiobook for it, unfortunately. But I am definitely loving it. I think the plot has picked up a lot in this one from the second one. Don't get me wrong, in the second one, a lot happened. We were constantly on the move. But I feel like in this one, the plot is, it's just developing. Like, the plot has a purpose in this one. I feel like we're actually getting somewhere in what we want to achieve. And I'm very much enjoying it. I'm also enjoying in this that we're getting to see more citizens, which sounds really weird. But I feel like in the first two, Saoirse was she wasn't isolated, she was with people, but it was quite a small group at a time. Whereas in this one, it feels a bit more like we're out there, we're in society, we're seeing the impact of all of these things that we've learned about on the actual world and on the people that live in this world, not just the select few that she is with. So yeah, I'm loving this one as well. Stunning. I'm gonna go get in the bath now and continue reading Calling of Light. I forgot to bring the physical copy, so I'm sorry, but I have now finished finale. So we've finished our second book for this video. I'll talk about, we are actually going to read another book besides finishing Calling of Light, but I'll talk about that in a sec. So finale, I don't know whether to give it a 3.75 or a 4. Did I enjoy it? Probably around as much as the second one, yes. Did I also feel a bit disappointed by it? Yes. I don't really know what my criticism is. I don't think I have anything intelligent to say, other than the trilogy just didn't go in the direction that I wanted it to. Which is like a selfish criticism anyway. It's just, I think we focused, dare I say it, too much on the romances and the triangles or the pentagons, I don't know, that were going on. I feel like we focused too much on that. And then also tried to do something interesting with the plot, but because we were trying to focus quite heavily on two different things, both felt a bit lackluster. Like the romances, even though we spent quite a lot of time on them, especially at the end, felt a bit rushed and a bit like, oh, okay, this is where we are. And then again, the plot, because we were focusing so much on the romance, I feel like I didn't fully understand or get invested in quite a lot of the plot points. Obviously, I can't say what they are because it's the third book in a series. But I feel like I wasn't fully invested in where we were going with the plot because we didn't spend enough time on it. We kept talking about the romances. But then I also wasn't invested in the romances either. So I enjoyed it. But I just feel like both Legendary and Finale, for me personally, just missed that whimsy that Caraval had. And I get you can't write 3 books about the same thing. But the thing I loved so much about Caraval was just the descriptions and the setting. And I feel like we lost that for me in Legendary and Finale. I get she had to do something different. And it's not necessarily the plot I didn't like. I could have got on board with the plot. But I feel like we just lost. There was a lot of magic in the books, but we lost the true sense of magic and like the feel of magic. When I read Caraval, I felt like I was there. I felt like I could see and smell, and I felt so immersed when I was reading that book, which I think I said before, for me is quite rare. I don't have the most active imagination. So for me to feel that, I was like, I loved it. Like it was such a good shock when I read the first book. And I just feel like we lost that a bit in Legendary and Finale. I still enjoyed them both. I think I am still going to give Finale a 4-star, realistically. Like, I still really enjoyed reading it. It just didn't go in the direction I selfishly wanted it to. And I don't mean that in any specific way. Like, I didn't have anything specific I wanted them to do or people I wanted them to end up with. Nothing like that. I just wish we'd focus more on the magic and the settings and things like that. But I still enjoyed them nonetheless. So obviously we still need to finish Calling of Light. I'm going to force myself to relax this evening because I really haven't relaxed the last few evenings since we moved in. I've not had a proper just sit down and relax kind of night. And I really need that for my own soul. So I'm going to sit and try and read as much as I can of Calling of Light. I know I won't finish it today, but I'm going to try and read as much as I can. And then the next audiobook we're going to do is Fearless by Lauren Roberts. It got released the other day. I'm not buying the physical copy because I refuse to buy the hardback. I'm going to wait till the paperback comes out. But I do really want to read it. I'm not like obsessed with the Powerless trilogy. If you don't know, Fearless is the 3rd book in the Powerless series by Lauren Roberts. There's now 3 full-length books and a novella that have come out. I like it. I'm not obsessed with it. I think I'm just looking at them on my shelf to like bring back the memories. Powerless was a 4-star read. The novella, I can't remember, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was a really solid novella. Reckless was like a 3.5, 3.75, so I've definitely liked it. I'm very intrigued by the series. It's not the most original thing I've read, but it just kind of scratches the itch for me of missing that like YA dystopia feel, even though it's not a dystopia. It did have a lot of those elements that I really, really love about YA dystopia. So I'm very excited to read Fearless. A, because I did like the series, but mostly because I don't want to get spoiled. I don't want to not read it and then have it spoiled. I want to be kind of in on the hype. So I'm going to listen to it on audio. It might take a little bit longer because I'm going to listen to it on BookBeat and I can only do that on 2 times speed rather than my usual 3. I like things to be quick and snappy, but you can't do that on BookBeat. But anyway, I'm going to listen to that on there. So we're going to, again, be reading 2 books at the same time in this video until I've finished Calling of Light. And then, yeah, I will probably come back in now, whichever comes first between finishing Calling of Light and being somewhere into not Reckless, that's the second one, Fearless, that I actually have something to say about it. Please excuse the fact that I look a bit of a mess. I'm just parked up in a car park. But I forgot to update you for this video, and I'm going to be listening to an audiobook whilst I drive, so I want to talk to you before I end up finishing it. So first of all, I finished Calling of Light and I gave it a 4-star. I did really enjoy it. It definitely, right, so this series, I think I figured out what my problem is with it, and it's not a big problem. I still really like this series and I would still recommend it. I think the premise is quite unique compared to a lot of fantasy books at the moment. So my main issue is that the world feels very empty in this series. It feels like, not that it's not fleshed out, but I think some of the real impact in fantasy novels comes from seeing like civilians and just the people in the world. I think that really adds a lot of emotion to a fantasy story, even though like I don't want any more characters like points of view or like side characters, just people in the background. I feel like this series is kind of lacking that. there's not enough people in the background to really make what they're doing feel worth it. Like, oh, you're fighting to save all these people. Does that make sense? I don't want to compare it to any specific series, but I'm gonna have to. Like, for example, in the Throne of Glass series, you get to see like a lot of civilians in a lot of different places, and I feel like that really adds to the impact of why they're doing what they're doing to save all the people. And I wish the Shannonborn series just had a little bit more of that. But I did really like our main character Saoirse. I like the side characters. I think it was a nice amount of side characters. I just wish we had more background characters. The world feels like there's barely anyone in it, to me personally anyway. But I gave it a 4-star. I really, really enjoyed it. I think the last book definitely had a bit more of that punch that I was looking for. The end probably wasn't the most climactic thing in the world, like the whole resolution ended up being quite simple. But I did enjoy this book, I really did. And I would recommend this series. As I said, I think it's quite different from other fantasy series. There's no romance in it. There's like the tiniest inkling of hints, but like really not at all. There's like no romance. When you get to the end, no one is like in a clear relationship or anything like that. It's very focused on female friendships as well, which I loved that. Saoirse, our main character, is like absolute ride or die for her best friend. And that is a theme throughout the whole series. So if you want a fantasy that's more based on really strong friendships and found family, I would definitely recommend this one. So yeah, I finished that one and I'm now 54% through Fearless by Lauren Roberts and I am loving it. I liked Powerless. I gave it a 4-star, like it was a fun time. But this series for me just hasn't been groundbreaking. I quite liked Reckless. I think I gave that like a 3.75. It was a bit repetitive for me. I don't feel like we really got very far. But I still liked it because the thing is, I love the characters. I really love Paden and Kai enough that kind of no matter what they're doing, I'm going to enjoy reading the book just to spend time with them. But ultimately, this series needed, like this final book for me really needed some interesting plot for me to end up loving this series and for it to end up being a favourite. Obviously I haven't finished yet, so I can't say whether that's going to happen, but there's definitely the potential there for that. Like, I'm definitely really enjoying the plot of this one. I wish there was a bit more tension between Kai and Paden, but I feel like that's coming. Obviously I can't spoil anything, so I'm not going to say really any more than that. But yeah, I feel like I've been wishing for a little more tension, a little bit more will they, won't they? But I think that might be coming with what is about to happen in the plot. But as I said, I won't say what, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone that's not had a chance to read it yet. And I'm listening to Fearless on audio. Hence why I wanted to film this now, because on my way home I'm going to listen to some more. And I don't want to accidentally finish the book before I speak to you about it at all. So yeah, I'm really liking it. It's definitely better for me than Reckless. I liked Reckless, but I think this could be, hopefully, the book that really kind of solidifies this series as a favourite for me. I would still recommend the series regardless, even at this point in the final book. I think it's just easy and fun, and it gives, like, I wouldn't compare it to the Hunger Games. I don't think it's similar, but the first book definitely gave inklings of those kind of feelings that the Hunger Games gave me. Definitely not on the same level, but yeah, it gave me like little inklings. So anyway, I'm gonna go now and I will get back to you maybe now when I've finished Fearless, or if I've got anything to say before I finish it, but I'll probably just pop in now when I've finished. If you can't tell, we've still not got the angles figured out in the new house of how I'm filming, but I've just finished, what's it called? It's not Reckless, that's the second one. Fearless. I've just finished Fearless. And I didn't have time to create a good angle because I just need to speak before all thoughts go out of my head. So, I don't know. I don't even know where to start. This is going to be a disgusting clip to edit. I apologise to future me because this is going to be very incoherent. Okay. As I mentioned, I think I mentioned anyway, I was really enjoying this. I was really enjoying this book. However, I have many issues. I've not yet fully decided on a rating. I think I'm going to give it 3. I think it's a 3-star, which feels weird because I gave Reckless a 3.75 and I feel like all any of us ever do is complain about that book. The difference with Reckless is that even though objectively it wasn't that good and the pacing was weird and it was really slow and very repetitive, I still enjoyed the reading experience of it. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the romance. It just felt like a second book in a series, but I wasn't too mad at it. Like, I think the criticisms of that book are very valid, but I still enjoyed it whilst I was reading it. This book was all over the shop. So I was hoping this book would bring everything together. I was hoping it would kind of redeem the slow nature of Reckless. I was hoping that Reckless would end up being like a really build-up novel, and then everything would come together in this one. No, absolutely not. Basically what happened in this book, without giving spoilers, obviously this discussion is going to be very vague. There's so many things I want to talk about, but I'm not going to because they would be spoilers, and I'm very aware this is a very, very anticipated book, so I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Essentially what happened is we threw everything out the window, and every 3 pages Lauren Roberts just put something in for pure shock value. Right, so there's so many plot twists in this book, and they fall into 2 camps, neither of which I like. The first set of plot twists are things that weren't plot twists because they were so obvious to me, and looking at reviews, obvious to many other readers. And I'm not that smart when it comes to books. I have no interest in figuring things out. I am along for the ride with the characters. However, even I knew what was going on with some of these plot twists. And then the other ones, you couldn't know what was going on because they came so out of left field and were related to nothing else that happened. But Lauren tried to be smart. Basically, she would throw something in completely random and then say, oh yeah, like I remember now that Kit or Kai or whoever said that one half of a sentence 3 months ago, and that's why this thing makes sense. A, if you have to re-explain to the readers why it makes sense, it doesn't make sense. And B, you shouldn't be hinging such a big plot point on like half of a thing that someone said months ago. It doesn't add up. So the plot twists were not plot twisting. There were many of them. If you want a book that is pure just shock value, great, read this. You'll probably love it. But when I've invested my time into 2 books that I actually had very high hopes for, in a series that I don't see this as like a cheap shock kind of series, I thought we were actually going to build up to something here, and we just didn't. It was just so weird to me. The pacing in this book as well was wild. You'd have a scene where like everything falls apart and you question everything you've ever known, and then just nothing, and then a big scene and then nothing. It was so stop start. There was no build up, there was no momentum. It was just up down, and I personally don't like that. I like to feel tension. I like to be on the edge of my seat thinking like, oh my god, what's going to happen in this book? But there's no way you could do that with this book because we were just being thrown all over the gaff with no idea what was actually going on at any given point. So I'm so disappointed. Because I'm literally, my thoughts are all over the place. I can't even form a sentence. I really liked Powerless. I gave it like a 4-star. It wasn't groundbreaking, but it was fun. As I said, I did quite like Reckless. I didn't hate it, but I could definitely see the issues with it. And I was really hoping this was going to be the book that was going to solidify this as a favourite series for me. And it didn't quite do that. I will always appreciate the series. Like, it is fun, but I'm just so mad at this book. Like, I would honestly rather have this book been slower and made sense than being what it was. And I think Lauren Roberts has maybe seen all the criticism of Reckless where we were all saying it was so slow, and she's been like, oh shit, I best make this one quick. But it was like, it was quick, but it didn't make sense. It wasn't quick in a good way. It was quick in like, I've got whiplash. I am putting in a claim for whiplash because I don't know what's going on. I'm all over the place, and that's where I land. I don't know if a 3 feels harsh, but I don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to rate this. I'm going to put my final rating for this book on the screen because this video, today is Wednesday, and this video is not going up till Saturday or Sunday anyway. So I'll have a few days to think about it, and I'll have popped my final rating that I've decided on the screen, so you will know. But anyway, that brings us to the end of this video. Overall, it has been successful. I feel very productive. We've finished 3 series. A lot of the times final books in series do disappoint me a little bit, especially in fantasy where I'm expecting like everything to come together. Not so much in romance, because I don't think romance series have like the same trajectory as fantasy series. But overall, I'm quite happy. Even though I don't know how I feel about all these series, this has been a productive exercise. We have finished 3 series that were on my list to finish. So I'm very happy about that at least. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!